And if it's multiple children, certainly it's another issue. And do you need the assets to fund your retirement? Some people may not need them, okay? Some people will. More often than not, you do need them. So these are things that you have to think about and the risks that you want to take in accomplishing them.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Larry.
Okay. Another option is to sell to an employee group using an ESOP. This is probably not, you don't see this as often, a little bit more complicated, but there are times where you have a very, very nicely built business that's functioning very well and is very profitable. You've had loyal employees for years. You'd like to take care of them. They have an interest in acquiring ownership of the business. And, certainly you'd like to help them because they got you where you are. So obviously you need to know, is the management team capable of taking it over and running it? If not, you could build a management team over a period of years, train them in the business and turn it over. Once again, is it a turnkey model? Is it something that could easily be transferred, and that also builds the value of the business and also the amount of funds you would get for retirement? Does the business have the ability to finance a cash event? Okay, a cash event can be funded over time. It could be by taking out debt, which would be paid back by the new owners, okay? But that does create a risk, okay? And it creates a risk in terms of you getting paid, okay?
Larry, can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure. Yes.
We have a question. What is a good, if I'm going to sell the business, I'm assuming that's what they meant, what is a good multiple? What do you multiply it against? And how do you figure out what the business is worth, and how do you increase the value? That's a big question.
That's a big question, but, the reality is the business is worth what people are willing to pay for it, okay? Yes, you can do a calculation. Calculations can be close, but they can be way off. As an example, I worked with a business probably about 10 years ago that they decided they wanted to sell. They got a valuation that said it was worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 to $4 million, okay? The ending selling price was significantly more, $12.2 million, okay? And if the business owner had used that gauge and said, this is the price of the business, it's $4 million, do you think people are going to come in and actually offer more than $4 million? They're not. So there's a lot of things that you have to do, okay? It's not just get a value and put it out for sale. It's a process. You have to understand that this is something you don't do a lot, and you have to do it strategically, and you have to do it in a progression. And if you do it right, you can leverage the value significantly. But I'll go into that a little bit more later. Kathy, can you repeat the question so I can get the other issues?
So what is a good multiple? How do you figure out what the business is worth and how to increase the value?
Well, I think I kind of addressed the first two. I mean, standard, if you did a calculation, it's typically 3 to 4 times your net, or what you take out of the business. But like I said before, it's probably not really a good guide to use. The bottom line is if you built an attractive business and you have more than one buyer angling to buy it, that value will jump, okay? And in terms of the last question was again?
How do you increase the value?
Well, we talked a little bit about this too. What you really need to do is build a turnkey model, okay? You need to get two things. One is make sure you don't have any cash leaks because, people don't pay for things that they can't see, okay? And reality is you want to build something that shows a progress in terms of sales and profitability. That shows them that they can continue that trend. And, certainly having all systems in place that would lend itself to managing the business, key performance indicators, things like that, that people can automatically plug into without a lot of difficulty, and it make it a very easy and seamless transition.
Larry, this is Andy.
Yes, Andy.
I absolutely agree with everything you're saying, and one of the challenges that we see in businesses that are heading into that final phase of planning for sale is that the business for so long has practiced reducing their taxes by minimizing their net income, and then are shocked at the low valuation on the business because there is no net income. And it's essential for business owners to remember that somebody is going to buy your business because you've proven that it is able to make a significant amount of money on the bottom line, not just revenue, but what really counts in the sale is the bottom line net income. And you also have been able to put that money away and build reserves, which is a further proof that the business is making money. You weren't just churning the money to keep growing.
Yeah, I agree with that, Andy. I mean, reality is that taxes are only a percentage of the income. You're really building value where you get 100%. So I would say, as part of your plan, I'm not against saving taxes. I'm a CPA. I mean, that's what we do. Okay, but the reality is that saving taxes and strategies in order to keep that tax number down are smart. But as you're getting ready to exit and the 5 years prior, really what you need to do is show as much profitability as possible, and then you'll leverage the value much, much more than you would ever save in taxes. So, yeah, short-term pain for long-term gain. That's what you need to really think about.
Thanks.
The other issue is, can you hold paper? Can you bear risk? Do you want to? Okay. There's the other issue of, does the company have the ability to service the debt? And that could be impacted by the economy and the business outlook and the competitive environment. The other option is sale or merger. I participated in a number of these, okay, over the years and played different roles in them, actually. But it comes down to having a strategy and plan in place. And really, it's got to be done years in advance. It can't be a wake up one day and I say, I want out within a year. It's got to be something that's done over time because you have to show good trends. Once again, it comes back to a turnkey model. People are willing to pay for things that are easy for them to do. They're willing to pay more. If they have to come in and they're going to be in a situation that while they're running around like a crazy person, they don't want to pay for that. They'll say, I don't need that type of aggravation. And, yeah, I'll do it. I'll make an investment of my time, but I'm not going to make an investment of my money. The other thing that you have to do is get rid of all the cash and profit leaks, meaning, okay, we need to see it all, okay, and I won't say much more than that. And you have to know that money sometimes goes out the door, so you have to proactively manage your expenses and your revenue to make sure that you're not overpaying, that you're not undercharging, okay, in terms of what the market will bear, and that you're maximizing your margins and your profit. Have you created a competition? Okay. The best way to get the biggest value is to have 10 buyers. If you have one, you've got a problem because they could negotiate to the last minute and then pull their offer off the table. So you need to have multiple buyers, each of which are willing to make a final offer and at the same time will step in if somebody else falls out. So you have to have a strategy in order to create that type of a competition. And you would do it with your car. I mean, you'd go in, you'd wax it, you'd polish it, you'd vacuum it, etc. You'd get 10 people looking at it. If you got 5 people who are going to bid on your car, you know you're going to get top value. If you have one and he's I don't know, well, I said $2,000 at first, but how about $1,500? You have no negotiating room. Now, allow the marketplace to determine the price because once you've set a price and named a price, it's hard to go up from that price. So what you really need to do, you can always say no, okay? What you really need to do is go out and solicit offers from qualified buyers that can compete against each other. And that's how that price, what I talked about, that went from $4 million to $12 million, that's how it happened. A competition took place. Now, a little harder in today's world, but if you can target the right audience, you can still do it. Okay.
Larry, I can't, I agree with you totally on that one. Soliciting offers periodically during the life of the business is such a good way for a business owner to get practice at some of what it might mean to sell the business. we've had a couple of clients do this very effectively as they've gone through growth stages, so that they're measuring the effectiveness of